Hashirama Senju. Known as the first Hokage, he was born into one of the strongest ninja clans of his era. Even as a kid, Hashirama possessed incredible strength and seemingly endless chakra. But his childhood was anything but peaceful. He grew up during an age where clans constantly fought each other for land and influence. The two biggest clans back then were the Senju and the Uchiha, and they were locked in a cycle of bloodshed that felt like it would never end. But even in the middle of that chaos, something unexpected happened. Hashirama accidentally befriended a boy named Madara. Neither of them knew who the other really was. They just happened to meet by the river. Throwing stones, competing, joking around, and talking about a dream. A world where children didn't have to fight or die in pointless wars. That little dream connected them before they ever learned each other's family names. Eventually, the truth came out, and both discovered the other was from the enemy clan. From that moment on, their fates shifted. Hashirama continued to lose his brothers one by one to the endless war. Until only Tobirama remained. Those losses shaped him deeply. They pushed him to make a vow: he would end the bloodshed, no matter what it took. When he grew older and became the leader of the Senju clan, Hashirama took a step no one could have predicted. He proposed an alliance with the Uchiha, their sworn rivals. It was an incredibly risky idea. But Hashirama wasn't driven by fear or power. He believed in something bigger. He wanted to build a village where clans could live together, where children could grow up in peace instead of on the battlefield. And somehow, he managed to convince Madara to believe in that dream, too. Together, they founded the Hidden Leaf Village, Konoha, and everything changed from there. Hashirama became the first Hokage, the village's leader. He wasn't just powerful because of his wood release. He could raise massive structures from bare ground and even tame tailed beasts. Creatures of devastating chakra. Yet his true strength wasn't his jutsu, it was his belief in unity, friendship, and peace. He was the first to embody the will of fire. The idea that adults must protect the younger generation, and that the village is one big family. Because of his dream and his leadership, other nations followed the example of Konoha. The 5 major ninja villages were eventually founded, marking the beginning of a new era in the shinobi world. Tobirama Senju. Now, let's talk about Tobirama Senju. He was Hashirama's brother, but personality-wise, they were practically opposites. While Hashirama was warm-hearted, optimistic, and always hopeful about peace, Tobirama was realistic, cautious, and, when necessary, unapologetically ruthless. He grew up watching his brothers die in war, and that hardened him. Everything he did afterward was to ensure survival, first for his clan, and later for the entire village. People often praise Hashirama as the founder of Konoha, but Tobirama is the one who actually built its systems. Hashirama brought unity, but Tobirama created the structure that allowed the village to function. He established the Ninja Academy to train young shinobi. He introduced the mission ranking system. He built the administrative framework that every other village eventually copied. And on top of that, Tobirama was a genius when it came to ninjutsu. He invented the shadow clone technique, the same move Naruto later made iconic. And of course, there's the infamous Edo Tensei, the reanimation jutsu, a forbidden technique that literally brings the dead back to life. It would later be misused by Orochimaru and Kabuto, becoming one of the most terrifying abilities in the entire series. But Tobirama's biggest controversy was his relationship with the Uchiha clan. While Hashirama trusted Madara deeply, Tobirama always viewed the Uchiha as a dangerous clan cursed by intense emotions. He believed that the Sharingan and the so-called curse of hatred made them unpredictable. Tobirama relocated the Uchiha to the edge of the village and assigned them to the Konoha police force. On the surface, it seemed like an honor, but in reality, it isolated them and made them feel monitored. That decision contributed to the distance, distrust, and eventual tragedy that would haunt the Uchiha for generations. Tobirama also trained an influential group of students, Hiruzen Sarutobi, who later became the 3rd Hokage, along with Danzo Shimura, Homura Mitokado, and Kaharu Utatane, all of whom held major leadership roles in the village. Tobirama's teachings shaped the political future of Konoha. He eventually died during the First Great Ninja War, when his team was ambushed by the Gold and Silver brothers, Kinkaku and Ginkaku of the Hidden Cloud. Tobirama sacrificed himself so his subordinates could escape. Before his death, he chose Hiruzen as the next Hokage, believing that Hiruzen had both the heart and wisdom needed to lead Konoha. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the professor, the 3rd Hokage with a warm heart and a deep sense of protection for the village. Born into the Sarutobi clan, Hiruzen was a prodigy from a young age, and he was blessed with extraordinary teachers. Both Hashirama and Tobirama mentored him directly. Thanks to them, Hiruzen not only mastered combat skills but also absorbed the philosophy behind the Will of Fire, the belief that the village must be preserved through compassion and unity. During the First Great Ninja War, Hiruzen proved himself as a brilliant warrior. Tobirama trusted him not just for his strength but for his judgment, and ultimately appointed him as the next Hokage. Hiruzen lived up to that responsibility. He mastered more jutsu than anyone in Konoha, earning the title, the Professor. Under his leadership, the village continued to grow stronger and overcome many challenges. Hiruzen was also a deeply influential teacher. He trained the legendary Sannin, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru, each wildly different from the others, yet all shaped by his guidance. His mentorship helped create some of the most powerful ninja in history. But Hiruzen's leadership wasn't flawless. One major controversy was how he handled the Uchiha situation. Though pressured by Danzo and the village elders, Hiruzen still carried responsibility for failing to prevent the tragedy that later unfolded. Another painful decision was hiding Naruto's true parentage. Hiruzen did it to protect Naruto. But the consequence was that Naruto grew up isolated and misunderstood, treated like an outcast because he carried the 9 tails inside him. The villagers had no idea he was actually the son of a hero who gave his life to save them. Leadership often forces impossible choices, and Hiruzen had to live with the fallout. After handing the Hokage title to Minato, Hiruzen believed he could finally rest, but after Minato's death during the 9 tails attack, Hiruzen was forced to return as Hokage once more. Even though he was already old, he continued to protect the village using experience and compassion, doing everything he could to maintain stability. His final battle came when Orochimaru, his former student, attacked Konoha. In that fight, Hiruzen sacrificed his life to protect the village once again, sealing away Orochimaru's ability to use jutsu. Even in his last moments, he showed love for the Leaf Village, and for the student who betrayed him. That was the will of fire, love, faith, and sacrifice, carried by a man who lived and died for his village. Minato Namikaze. Even from a young age, Minato stood out as a prodigy, sharp, talented, and incredibly quick to learn. At the Ninja Academy, he was the kind of student who picked up techniques instantly. While other kids were still trying to throw kunai straight, Minato graduated as the top of his class at just 10 years old. His gift didn't go unnoticed. Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, saw something special in Minato and took him in as his disciple. From that moment, Minato's growth skyrocketed. During the Third Great Ninja War, Minato became a one-man army. He mastered the Flying Raijin technique, a teleportation jutsu originally created by the second Hokage, Tobirama, but Minato perfected it, taking it far beyond its original limits. With it, he could vanish and reappear behind his enemies faster than they could blink. Combined with his insane reflexes, Minato became so feared that the Hidden Stone Village literally issued an order: "If you see Minato, run. Don't fight." His reputation became legendary. In one famous battle, Minato single-handedly defeated 50 enemy shinobi from the Stone Village. That feat alone cemented his title, the Yellow Flash of the Leaf. And that's not even all. You know the Rasengan, the spinning sphere of chakra Naruto later mastered? Minato invented it. Unlike most jutsu, the Rasengan doesn't use hand signs or elemental chakra. It's pure raw chakra shaped into a compact, devastating orb. It took Minato years to perfect it, but it became one of the most iconic techniques in ninja history. With unmatched talent, a gentle heart, and a deep desire to protect the village, Minato was chosen as the 4th Hokage. But tragedy struck on the night Naruto was born. That night, a masked man infiltrated the leaf, broke the seal containing the 9 tails inside Kushina, and released the beast to destroy the village. Minato was suddenly faced with 3 impossible responsibilities: protect his wife, protect his newborn son, and defend the entire hidden leaf from a monster capable of leveling mountains. The battle was brutal. Minato fought the masked man, then raced to stop the 9 tails rampage. In the end, he made the ultimate sacrifice. He used the Reaper Death Seal, a forbidden jutsu, to seal the 9 tails away, but the price for using it is always the user's life. He couldn't seal the full power of the 9 tails into Naruto. So Minato split its chakra into 2 halves. He took the yin half with him to the afterlife, and sealed the yang half inside his son. Minato believed Naruto would one day grow strong enough to use that power, strong enough to become a hero. In their final moments, Minato and Kushina shielded their baby from a deadly strike. They gave their lives to protect Naruto. giving him not only their love, but the hope of a future he would grow to shape. That night, the journey of Naruto Uzumaki began. Tsunade Senju. She was the granddaughter of Hashirama, the first Hokage. Funny enough, her love for gambling, and her terrible luck, is said to be hereditary from her grandfather. Hashirama may have been a legend, but even he wasn't perfect. Tsunade inherited not just his quirks but also his immense vitality and chakra reserves. As a teenager, Tsunade trained under the third Hokage alongside Jiraiya and Orochimaru. Together, they formed one of the strongest teams of their generation. They didn't just learn ninjutsu, they learned responsibility, loyalty, and the true weight of being a ninja. Through countless missions, they gained fame as the legendary Sannin. Then came the Second Great Ninja War, a turning point that changed Tsunade forever. She watched loved ones die right before her eyes. Blood, fear, and heartbreak became a part of daily life. Those experiences pushed Tsunade to master medical ninjutsu so she could save people instead of losing them. She created incredibly advanced healing techniques, including the legendary Creation Rebirth. A medical jutsu so powerful it borders on forbidden. But fate wasn't kind. Both her younger brother and the man she loved died in battle. Their deaths shattered her. Tsunade lost her faith in the dream of becoming Hokage. She left the village with her student Shizune, wandering from place to place, drowning her trauma in sake and gambling. Everything changed when Naruto arrived. Despite his age, Naruto had a fire inside him, a stubborn, unbreakable hope for the future. His determination reminded Tsunade of everything she had lost, and everything she once believed in. Through him, Tsunade rediscovered a sense of purpose. She realized that the next generation needed someone to guide and protect them. So she accepted the role of the fifth Hokage. When she returned to the village, Konoha was still reeling from Orochimaru's attack. Under her leadership, the village slowly found its footing again. Tsunade modernized the medical system, created a new medical corps, and personally trained Sakura Haruno, turning her into one of the strongest medical ninja of her era. From someone who once abandoned her dreams, Tsunade rose again, stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. She didn't just heal bodies. She healed the future. Kakashi Hitaki, the copy ninja, the man behind the mask, and one of the most unique teachers in Konoha's history. Kakashi was the son of Tsukumo Hitaki, the White Fang of the Leaf, a legendary ninja whose fame rivaled even the Sannin. Kakashi admired his father deeply. Tsukumo was his hero. But everything fell apart when Tsukumo took his own life. He had chosen to save his comrades over completing a critical mission, and the village harshly condemned him for it. Kakashi was devastated. He locked away his emotions and vowed never to make the same mistake. From then on, he lived by a strict code: the mission always comes first. As a child, Kakashi was forced into war. He fought on the front lines, and the brutality of battle shaped him prematurely into an elite ninja. During this time, he trained under Minato Namikaze. But tragedy continued to follow him. His teammate and closest friend, Obito Uchiha, died saving him during a mission. Obito's sacrifice broke Kakashi's cold philosophy. Before he died, Obito gave Kakashi his Sharingan, a gift that changed Kakashi's life forever. After the war, Kakashi became the sensei of Team 7, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. He seemed distant at first, strict and cold, but slowly, his students saw his true heart. Kakashi always emphasized one thing: those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. He passed down the lessons he learned from both Minato and Obito. His guidance shaped Naruto's worldview, strengthened Sakura's resolve, and influenced Sasuke more deeply than it seemed at the time. Kakashi himself fought in nearly every major battle of the modern era, becoming one of the strongest ninja in the world. After the Fourth Great Ninja War, he was chosen as the sixth Hokage. His leadership focused on peace, stability, and rebuilding trust. Despite all the pain he endured, Kakashi never turned bitter. He remained compassionate, intelligent, and quietly heroic, earning admiration from the entire village. Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who changed everything. Naruto was born into tragedy. His parents gave their lives to save the village and sealed the 9 tails into their newborn son. Because of that, Naruto grew up hated and feared. People avoided him, whispered behind his back, and treated him like a monster, even though he had no idea why. His childhood was painfully lonely. No parents, no friends, no one to comfort him. To cope, Naruto became a prankster, doing whatever it took to get people to notice him. Behind every stunt, every joke, every loud burst of energy, was a kid who just wanted someone to care. His biggest dream? To become Hokage, not for power, but to prove to everyone that he wasn't worthless. Things changed when Naruto graduated from the academy and joined Team 7 with Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke became his rival, someone Naruto admired, envied, and eventually grew attached to. Naruto saw Sasuke's loneliness because he carried the same empty ache inside himself. When Sasuke left the village seeking power, Naruto made a promise to Sakura, and to himself, that he would bring Sasuke back someday. That promise became Naruto's driving force. Under the guidance of Jiraiya and later Killer Bee, Naruto became stronger not just physically but emotionally. He learned compassion, forgiveness, and the power of understanding others. Along his journey, he changed countless lives: Gaara, Zabuza, Obito, Tsunade, and even Sasuke himself. Naruto believed that hatred could be broken, and he proved it through action. Eventually, Naruto earned the love and respect of the entire village. He fulfilled his dream, becoming the 7th Hokage, the leader who carried more love and hope than any before him. Shikamaru Nara, the 8th Hokage, and one of the most unconventional leaders Konoha has ever had. He's not the kind of shinobi who overwhelms you with brute strength or flashy jutsu. Instead, he's a strategist to the core, a quiet genius whose IQ is off the charts, and someone who turned laziness into a strange form of refined, efficient thinking. Shikamaru was born into the Nara clan, known for their shadow manipulation techniques, a long-standing family legacy. But Shikamaru never chased power. What he valued most was simplicity, peace, and avoiding unnecessary trouble. Left to his own devices, he'd rather stare at the clouds than train for hours. But that calm, slow-moving personality hides a razor-sharp mind. Even as a kid, he was able to think 10 steps ahead of everyone else. One of the most influential figures in his life was his teacher, Asuma Sarutobi. Asuma taught Shikamaru more than just combat. He taught him philosophy, responsibility, and what it truly means to protect something. Their bond was deep, like that of father and son. Asuma often spoke to him about the king in shogi, a metaphor about protecting the next generation, a lesson that shaped Shikamaru's destiny. When Asuma died during the Akatsuki conflict, Shikamaru was devastated, but instead of breaking, he grew stronger. He hunted down Hidan, the man who killed his teacher, and defeated him using pure intelligence, not fury, not brute force, but strategy. That battle became one of the defining moments of his life. As Shikamaru matured, he took on more responsibility within the village. His calm judgment made him indispensable. He became Naruto's closest advisor, essentially the brain behind the Hokage. And when Naruto was sealed away during the events of the new era, Shikamaru stepped into the political spotlight. He was chosen as the 8th Hokage, guiding the Leaf Village through challenges unlike anything seen before. From a self-proclaimed lazy kid who sighed at the slightest inconvenience, to a Hokage who leads with intellect, patience, and unshakable loyalty, Shikamaru Nara became a symbol of a new kind of strength. A leader who proves that brilliance, not just power, can protect the village. Each story is different, but together they form one long, powerful legacy, a legacy of sacrifice, growth, and an unwavering belief in protecting the next generation. That belief is the heart of the Will of Fire. And just like that, we've reached the end of our journey. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Hokage lineage and want more stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, and take care.